Hey, I am Dr. Jareka Dodd, founder, executive editor, I don't know, one of those titles of PharmaSis Magazine. And I am so excited to be here because I have the best job in the whole wide world. You know why? Because I get to share with the world some of my friends, colleagues, peers, women who are doing amazing things because number one, they're amazing. And number two, they are doing some awesome things in the world. And so today, guess who stopped by? I happened to find my good friend, Lauren Castle. Lauren thought I was crazy from the beginning when I met her, and she still thinks I'm crazy, but she indulges me. And so I'm so grateful for that. And always, always so grateful for the fact that whenever I send out a call, she is one of the women who have been featured in this magazine who raises her hand and says, hey, how can I help? So I appreciate that. So I like to give people their flowers when I'm with them and I can. So thank you for that. All right, let me formally introduce her. Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Lauren Castle. Woo! Hey, Lauren, how are you?
Hi, Jareka. I'm so good.
I am so glad to have you. And before we just start off this conversation, because you know how I do it, we have to remind the viewers which issue of the magazine you were in. So you ready to show them? Ooh, Lauren was in this one. Yes. And this is her page.
Yes.
Her feature with her lovely hair. And oh my gosh, she was like dressed for the holidays. It was so beautiful.
Yep.
So Lauren was in Lauren's like, wait, show all the pictures. Don't just show one of the pictures, like show the people what I was doing in these streets back 2 years ago. So yes, this was Lauren's feature. And Lauren, I was just saying before we went live, it has been 2 years. Like I know we were all in the middle and in the beginning and somewhere in a pandemic.
Right.
Tell me, what did you think when I reached out to you and said, hey, do you want to be in the magazine? Because this was only the second issue. Like we had done the first issue the previous fall, and now we're into the second issue and sliding into a pandemic. What did you think when I called you?
So I was actually working with Danielle Paradin, who I think you were just on with, and she was helping me with my mindset and my style and all of these things. I was doing this big fancy project for Walmart at the time. And she says, Lauren, you're going to be in a magazine. And I was like, what? Where? Why? That's cool. But why am I going to be in a magazine? She says, because Jareka is putting together a magazine and you're going to be in it and I'm going to be in it with you. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I literally didn't even know what to think because at that time I was like, but what am I going to talk about? Like, who am I? Like, what am I talking about? My functional medicine stuff? Am I talking about Walmart? It was all like this whole identity crisis in my mind that I was trying to work through at that time with her. And so to think about having to actually crystallize my message of like who I'm going to be and what I'm going to write and what I'm going to wear and what I'm going to present myself as was something that really just pushed me over the edge to take that leap and finally say like, okay, I'm really doing this. Because at the time I had not actually founded FMPHA's company yet. It was still just this Facebook group. And so I was like, okay, I have to actually like put it in writing and then I have to do it because I'm going to tell people. Yeah,
so
I'm going to tell people.
Let me have you give some advice, because if you knew how many women say to me, well, that sounds great, but I don't have my website yet. I don't have this. I'm not as far along in my business as I should be. What would you say to that woman who has not even gotten to the point of thinking about marketing herself or her business? What would you say to her?
I would still tell her to go ahead and sign up for it, because at the time you were like, okay, you're going to get a page for your ad. And I was like, I don't have an ad. She's like, you're going to make one. So it forces you to actually take those steps and put it out there, and crystallize it. And so it's the perfect opportunity to really just get into action and actually make it happen. So.
One of the things that I say about pharmacists, because we're always in our head, we're very analytical, and pharmacists like to get ready to get ready. And so I remember you, and I remember those conversations that we had. And I remember you the first time we talked, you were like, yeah, that's great. And I'll let you know. And I was like, no, this is not a let you know. This is a let's do this now. Like there's no better time. And I'm sure you probably thought that I was like pushy and all of that stuff. But when I look back over, just the vantage point that I have had in these last 2 years, like I'm still cheering for you. I'm still excited at what I knew you would make happen. Like I didn't know what it would look like, but I knew that it would be amazing. And it is amazing. Like you have the Functional Medicine Pharmacist, Functional Medicine Pharmacist Alliance. Like you took that group and you monetized it. And I know people probably would say, oh well, that's in line because that's it's functional medicine and that's something that a lot of pharmacists are very much interested in. But there's something to be said, Lauren, when you create something that didn't exist. And I know how that feels. When you take something that did not exist and you bring it into being, like I don't care if there are 6 or 7 functional medicine organizations that are formed, yours was first. So I give you kudos for that because it takes an innovator. It takes someone who has vision, who's not necessarily looking at, well, this has never been done before, so I don't know if I can do it. You were like, this has never been done before, and I'm the one to do it. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Yeah. And that, is true. That was the whole premise behind why I started the Facebook group and then the organization, is because I just knew that when I started, learning about functional medicine in 2015, and then went on to school in 2016, and then went into a functional medicine conference in 2018, and there was 6 pharmacists in a room of hundreds. And then nobody was talking about the role of the pharmacist, and there was no resources anywhere to help us figure all of this out. Then finally I was like, okay, well, I'm going to make them. Like I've spent all this time and effort and money researching functional medicine and figuring out how to do it. And someone needs to just put this out there to help other pharmacists. And so that's what we did.
And I know recently you got a designation for pharmacist with IFM. So can you talk a little bit about that and tell us, because, I trained with IFM, and I remember thinking whenever I had to, register for any of the modules or any of the courses, whenever I filled out any information that asked for demographics, pharmacist was not even in the drop down menu. I remember getting up, walking out to, me, I got up out of the room, walked out of the ballroom and walked to the desk and said, hey, why aren't pharmacists on there? There are a considerable amount of pharmacists who are interested in functional medicine and what have you. And so tell us what's
So that same conversation happened multiple times over the years with lots of pharmacists that were starting to go through IFM's program. And so that was kind of what I consider our first advocacy win for FMPHA, is that we were actually able to get IFM to finally update their Find a Practitioner directory. And so now PharmD, or pharmacist, is actually listed as an option that you can search specifically for a functional pharmacist in your area on the directory. So that just took effect. It was really exciting because I was on a call with them and they were like, Lauren, you're going to be so proud of us. We finally did it. I was like, You are amazing. This is wonderful. So it just goes to show that, the advocacy is absolutely paying off. And for those who don't know, IFM is one of our educational partners. So we actually have a dual membership with them. For the same price as what you would normally pay for IFM membership, which is $375, you can actually join FMPHA, get complimentary access to IFM and FMPHA all for $375. We also have a 20% discount on AFMCP, which is Applying Functional Medicine Clinical Practice. So that is a huge savings. I literally don't know of any other time or way that you ever can get that much off of that training program. And so it's a really awesome opportunity. It's what I recommend for every pharmacist, literally every pharmacist. If you're new to functional medicine and you haven't done any training yet, it is the best first step, simply because it's 90 days. So it's not too long. It's not too short. You've got time to kind of absorb the materials. When I did it, it was a 5-day in-person course, and we were brain dead by the end of it because it was so much. So now it's online. You can pace yourself to go through the material, but it's enough that you can finish it and not keep dragging it out for, years trying to say, okay, I'm going to implement this when I'm done. It's like, no, you're 90 days and you're going to be done. And then you're going to be able to take what you've learned and actually put it into practice. And then the other nice thing too is that we have a group of pharmacists that we actually lead a cohort. And so we have biweekly meetings and we show you how to apply what you're learning specifically as a pharmacist. And then when you're all done, as long as you maintain your membership, then you are listed on that directory as a pharmacist, like we talked about. So it's a really great first step. There's lots of training programs out there. Some people go on to complete the full program. Others like to do other programs. It just depends on your needs. And that's part of my goal and what I like to help people do. Is if you're an FMPHA member, we'll customize what that training program should look like for you. Because for a lot of people, IFM is a great option. For other people, it might be more than they need, or it might be not the way that they learn and they need a different learning style. So lots of different options. And that's my favorite conversation to have with people, is to help them figure that out.
So let me ask you to indulge me in one of my favorite conversations, and that is building a brand. So I know that you have definitely built your Lauren Castle brand. You have built the FMPHA brand. You have even added to your brand with being a part of Walmart and their brand. So talk to me about Lauren Castle, the brand, and marketing, marketing all of that, because most pharmacists are multi-passionate. That's what I like to say. Multi-passionate. We have our hands in lots of things. So talk to me about Lauren Castle, the brand, and what does that mean? What does that stand for? What does it represent? And how do you continuously communicate that to the world?
That's a really interesting question. Like I said, whenever I first got asked to even be in the magazine, I was trying to figure out what that brand even was. Because Walmart, for example, had been such a big part of my identity in terms of being with the company for 11 years now and starting out as an intern and then a pharmacist and a clinical manager and then a market director. But Dr. Lauren Castle actually was all born out of my current job, which actually is still with Walmart. A lot of people don't know, but my day job, my 9 to 5, is with a company called Brand Networks, which is a vendor for Walmart, and we power their social media technologies. So specifically, every single store has a Facebook page that is run by associates in the store, not marketing, not home office, run by real associates. And then we also have another platform that we power called Spotlight, which is for brand ambassadors that are associates that work for Walmart. And I was one of those. I was one of the first Walmart Spotlight brand ambassadors in the company and got to actually test out the app over 2 years ago. And so that was essentially how I started using Dr. Lauren Castle as my handle on all my social media platforms. And it was just all built around wanting to share my passion for helping people live better and save money and making health and wellness and functional medicine affordable and accessible. Because that was kind of my I don't know, my beef that I had with the functional medicine world, in a sense, is that it was really expensive. And unfortunately, most patients that are still in the conventional medical system are relying on their insurance, and they can't afford to see a cash-based practitioner. And so for me, it was all about how do we actually integrate pharmacy and functional medicine. So that was my goal with FMPHA, but it stems from a personal belief in that functional medicine should be accessible and affordable to everyone. So that's why I still continue to practice that and practice what I preach in terms of, meeting people where they are, both patients in terms of, I still work as a part-time pharmacist at Walmart, and my goal is always to help them make the most of what they have. So, how can I help them in terms of their lifestyle, or, the groceries they're shopping for, or, the medications that they may need, and really just introducing them to these concepts that they have more power over their health than they might think. But then also even with, pharmacists in terms of helping them on that functional medicine journey, and also teaching them that, this is affordable and accessible to you. You do not have to spend $25,000 on a master's degree. You don't have to spend $10,000 plus on a certification. You can get started practicing functional medicine today for very little investment, if any. You can technically do it for free. Like, I can literally teach people what kind of platforms to use and what kind of training options you have that are completely free, and you don't have to pay a dime to practice functional medicine. But it depends. Everyone is different. There are people who want to spend, money on a high touch program because that's the only thing that's going to motivate them to actually do it. So,
and I think that your approach, when I think of the pieces and the parts of what make up that Dr. Lauren Castle brand, all of them fit so well. It's like a well-tuned instrument or orchestra, in that you talk about affordability, not only for patients, but also for pharmacists. You talk about your love for functional medicine, as well as the practice of pharmacy. And so I think all of those elements, when I think of you, I see, no matter where I see you, whether it's you posting a picture just enjoying life, whether it's you posting a picture representing Walmart or representing yourself or your organization, I see those things that you stand for. And so congratulations for building your brand, even though you might not have been ready to do it. I think you have done a spectacular job. And I think that it is truly an example for pharmacists, because I was saying before we went live that oftentimes when pharmacists say, these monumental things like, I want to be a consultant, I want to be it, they don't think about their brand. They don't think about the fact that there's a consultant right next to you on the left and the right. So who are you? They don't think about, what makes your brand your brand. Why should people choose you over what have you? And I think that that's so, so important, because there's only one Lauren Castle, there's only one Jerika Dodd. And so I think that the onus is on us to definitely know that we can go get all the training in the world to fulfill the order. I talked about fulfilling, whether it's filling prescriptions, whether it's taking care of patients, whatever your fulfillment is, we do well at that, because that's what we were trained to do, is fulfill. But that marketing and that selling part is where usually we shy away from. I remember before I became an entrepreneur, I used to say out of my mouth, I cringe to think about it, I can't sell anything to anybody. And yet, time after time, year after year, that's what I do. And market is the other piece. And so I think it's so important for pharmacists to understand that you got the fulfillment part down. And usually, when we're going to get more certifications, when we're going to get more degrees, it's to fulfill even better. I have an opinion on that. And I think that's great. But in the face of not marketing and not selling, you can go get all that fulfillment training and have, like, you'll be like the Maytag man. You remember the Maytag man? He was sitting there because there was nothing to do. Nonetheless, that's so I really say kudos to you and I admire you for building a brand that has shown all of those components of you, all of those facets of you. And I love, love, love my motorcycle pictures that are not my pictures. Your motorcycle pictures are my favorite to see of you because it's like you get to see Lauren on all sides. And
Yep.
I think that's important. So congratulations on that. Yeah, see, yeah. I saw Lauren's like, let me show the people my
Yep.
motorcycle picture. So congratulations on building your brand. So Lauren, let me ask you, what is next for you and your brand, your the FMPHA? Like, what's coming up next? Like, if somebody's got their calendar out and they're like, I know she's gonna say something good. What's next?
We have lots of things coming up next. Actually, the very next thing is at 8 o'clock Eastern time tonight. I'm on a panel with Dr. Christine Manukian for her Story Institute virtual conference that is happening this week. And I'm super excited for that. You can catch the live tonight at 8. Or there's also a recorded lecture that I did talking about functional medication therapy management, and that's live in the group right now. So I can drop a link to that after this live, so that way people can find it.
Okay.
So that's tonight. And then we also have an event coming up this Saturday, May 21st, and that's with our educational partner, FX Med CE or functionalmedicinece.com. It's all about cardiovascular health. And so it's a 7-hour CE program. We've got some amazing speakers for that as well. FMPHA members can take 20% off. Code is in the members area. Or if you're not an FMPHA member, we can give you 10% off with our code FMPHA. So that's going to be a really awesome symposium that we're doing. And then we are starting to plan for our fall symposium, which is also with FX Med CE and our FMPHA meetup. And that's going to be in Nashville on September 23rd and 24th. So Friday night is our FMPHA event, and then Saturday is the CE symposium. So we're super excited for that. We'll definitely be sending out lots more information very soon in terms of the schedule and details. But you can check out the FMPHA website for more information on that.
All right, Lauren, tell them how they can get in touch with you. Like, if someone like hears all this and they're like, oh my gosh, she's amazing. I just need to like send her a message. What's the best way to get a message to Dr. Lauren Castle? Dr. Lauren Castle, paging Dr. Lauren Castle.
So we're on LinkedIn. You can absolutely connect with me on LinkedIn. Just send me a message there. You can also go on to the FMPHA website. We have a contact form if you want to use that. Either is perfectly fine with me.
Okay, so you heard it here. I am so excited that you stopped by. And let me also just share that I don't even know if she's going to be there because I haven't had a chance to ask her yet. But the next PharmaSis Magazine Networking Mixer is going to be May the 26th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's where the women who have been featured in the magazine are so kind to come and they network with the women who attend the mixer. So, like, you want to be in the room with people like Dr. Lauren Castle or some of the other women who've been featured in the magazine, you are welcome to join us. You can find that information on LinkedIn. You can actually go to PharmaSis Magazine has a page now on LinkedIn. So you can go there to find information or in LinkedIn events. And we would love, love, love to have you come and network and be a part because something happens when women in pharmacy get in the room and we leave all our credentials at the door and we roll up our sleeves, we meet each other, we connect. We do more than network. We connect and we help solve problems. So, and with that, I'll also add that July 21st through the 23rd, I am going to be teaching 3 days virtually. I haven't done it before because, we've been in this thing called a pandemic, but it's about time. So I'm going to be teaching. So save the date, more information to come about that. And again, Dr. Lauren Castle, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for saying yes 2 years ago. Thank you for saying yes. She's like, wait, no, these pictures. she's like that. And so I want to say thank you for saying yes whenever I call, as many times as I have called. And thank you for this time to check in and see how things were going with you. And again, you want to meet Dr. Lauren if you've not met her. She has a lot of amazing things going on. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll be in touch.
Thanks, Jerrica.
You're welcome.